Hey everyone, here's the most recent shop update. We made some progress here in the machine shop. I've got as you can see, these side walls, the gable walls, complete all the way to the top. They're painted, insulated. I've got my overhead lights in. Really, really happy with those, and they're not just in temporarily because before I just had like an extension cord coming to there, and it's kind of a mess. So I've got them actually hardwired into the box on a switch the way they should be, and everything works great. So I'm pretty happy with that. This side as well is done. I'm currently working on bringing the power. You see these wires hanging from the ceiling, and this one over here. Bringing the power across the ceiling. I'm going to drop down into the two outlets you see on the wall. Those are for the plasma cutter for the table, as well as the air compressor. And this other drop that's right there where the ladder is, that's actually going to run down the wall, across this wall, and drop down here. That's for my welders. Obviously, this front wall where the doors are is not finished. I need to insulate and panel that off. I got a bunch of 2x3s over here so that I can block all this in because it's really uneven surface, get it even, and then I can start putting up the OSB on that wall. That's really the next step once I get these wires in. So how I chose to do this, and it's a little unconventional. Normally when wires go through a ceiling cavity or something like that, they're okay with just like this here where they're just stapled in place like the nail style staples. Which I would have been okay with that with just like one or two wires, but because I'm running heavier gauge wire across the ceiling, I chose to take some conduit, some PVC conduit, attach it and use it as a wire chase to kind of, not just to clean it up, but it helps support it and as well. So right now it's only these two that are coming down, but eventually that will be in there, and that's 1/0. 3 strands of 1/0 wire and 1 strand of number 2 gauge wire, which is really big. That's direct burial wire. That's what I use to bring into my shop. And that's going to be drawn across the roof here, come down, 2-inch conduit, junction box, shooting out of the building, and eventually be buried and trenched over to the other building. So that's a lot to just have exposed on this beam. So I chose to just chop up some 2-inch conduit, attach it, and it's just going to run through there. It'll be fine. Eventually the ceiling's all going to be spray foam, so a lot of this stuff is going to probably have spray foam splatter over it and then painted flat black, and that'll clean it all up real nice. The only thing that I have an issue with is this area right here is real messy. So it's all wired. That one that you see here that's, where's my finger? Right there. That one right there is dead, a dead circuit. I'll be removing that wire, and all this nasty stuff up here. We'll zoom back out. That's all from original wiring on the building, so I got to remove all that stuff and get that cleaned up. These lights are all plugged in to outlets. I got to attach that to the rafter there, so ignore that. I'm not done. I've got an outlet there, and an outlet here, and then the light fixtures are all daisy chained together. And those outlets are attached to a switch on the wall over there. I'll walk over there in a second, but all that stuff works. I'm happy with it. And I've got the panel itself is all fully wired. All these wires that are hanging from the ceiling are in the panel. So I obviously got to be smart about what it is that I'm doing and not turn those breakers on because that could get exciting. So this is my setup over here. So this is just a regular outlet just to get me an outlet that's closer to the front of the building. This is going to be the switch for the air compressor, which is the orange wire that was hanging from the ceiling. This is my light switch. This does nothing anymore. It used to be attached to the outside lights. In this box here, I have a dusk till dawn sensor wired into this box, and this there's power that comes up from here. It's on the same circuit, but there's power that comes up in here, goes into this box. It splits off, okay, where constant power is run down to this outlet here that's dangling on the wall, and also my garage door. So the plan is that circuit, this wire will be removed and a longer one will be put in, drop down the outside of the building and run into my shed. This way I can have lights in my shed and an outlet. So I can power up some trickle chargers for my quads and stuff. Garage door opener will always have constant power. But then that same circuit also goes out of the building into the exterior light that's out there on a dusk till dawn sensor. And that comes back out of this box, runs down the wall, goes over here, goes out to this light, and then there's one on the other side of the building, and I'll show you when we go outside. So, and those power up my exterior lights. A little complicated, you get it. If you don't, doesn't matter. Still got a lot to button up and clean up in here. I obviously don't want it to look like shit. But it's kind of part of the process, just like the floor and the mess that's going on in here. Sometimes you got to make a giant mess before you can get it to be right. So let's head outside before it gets too dark. Show you what we got going on out there. So first off, I moved some of the vehicles out of the yard and brought them over here. And you see those are the lights I was talking to you about. Those are dusk till dawn sensor lights now. And the big news is the progress that we're making here with the concrete. Sorry about that. So we are last week of June, and I tried to get this started mid-March. So April, May, June, 3.5 months basically into this process. This is my third concrete guy. He came out for his first day's worth of work today, and he got the forms put back up. He brought in 20 tons of base material, which is this gravel with kind of a sandy gravel base. It packs super hard, and he doesn't have the forms like 100%, but he's got them in position. So I guess on Tuesday the plan is, if the weather's right, he's going to come back in here. He's going to finish getting the forms in position, start putting the rebar down, get the depth where it needs to be. So these, I call this the footer. A lot of people call it the haunch of a monolithic slab. That needs to be, in total, from the top surface of the concrete, needs to be down, was it 16 inches? What, 12? 14 inches. And then he's got to go down a little bit further to put the foam insulation. So anyways, doesn't really matter. I could be off on my measurements. Anyways, he's got to dig it down a little bit. This is where the pads will be for the lift. So those are just kind of roughed in right now. He's going to leave this side open. There we go with some rain. He's got to leave this side open so the concrete truck can come in. And let me get under this tree before I get my phone all wet. So he's going to leave this side open. It doesn't really need to be dug down that much, to be honest with you, because it drops off so much to the road. Top of the forms to the road is about 2 foot 10 inch drop. So, and this is going to be a driveway down into there. That's why the slab is actually so low, because normally it would have been higher. But that transition into the road is going to be critical to try to make that nice. And I can do dirt work around here to get the water runoff and everything the way it needs to be. So anyways, that's our update. I'm going to go get inside, plus I got to take a leak. Talk to you later.